But I've lived here for almost 2 years, and I'm planning on staying forever. I went got a bachelor's degree in international business, and I actually worked for the headquarters of a franchise company, which failed. It's completely out of business now, but was there when it was successful. And I have worked in nonprofit, and then I've also worked for the U.S. government. And then I went to graduate school for international administration and development, and that's why I'm here now. Doing that, I live in Bergville, which is in KwaZulu-Natal in the Drakensberg Mountains, working with Pila Gafe. They have a table over there. One of our projects is Masi Sukume Sake, which means get them build something Zulu. And we basically look for people. It was what they were speaking about today. We partner with the Cody Institute. We send community members to Cody. We are constantly out there. What Sebastian did with those numbers, we do that constantly. We just go and empower people with knowledge, and then say, what do you want to do? And then we wait for them to want to do something, and then we come alongside and we partner with them, either like helping to organize the trainings, or maybe meeting them in the middle with some funding they're lacking, that kind of thing. And a lot of it is a lot of people I work with are people like Lebo, who have like a really amazing idea and a passion and enthusiasm and want to run with it. So we know that development work isn't about like handing things out. It doesn't last. That just puts a band-aid on it for maybe only an hour. But what really will fix it is if you find the people who want to make this country better and want to make their personal lives better, and you work with them. So that's what we do. So I know that we have like different things, but this time we're talking about like the community and the environment that makes business successful. And I think that comes a lot with franchising. Like when you do franchising, you do go in like what environment. So that's what we're going to try and focus on right today. So we'll do Labo, as long as you need 10, 15 minutes, just to give us a good overview of who you are, what your business is all about, what lessons you've learned, and then we'll like link it back in to the community environment, and then we'll go on with the questions. So.
Maybe if I should just get straight to the point, and then maybe if there are any questions, because I've already maybe I don't know, spoke to some people already. I don't know, and I don't know if everybody has this.
Yeah.
Maybe it's already written. Maybe some people have read. But I would maybe want to know what people like to do, what people like to know about what I'm doing.
You can continue with where you were when I interrupted you. Okay. That's why I kind of interrupted you, because yeah, I think that you were on the right track.
Okay, great. Yes, that's why I was saying that once we had identified, what we would like to contribute in the industry, which was selling craft, but for me it was not really about selling craft. I thought I had other ideas than that. That was 1998. So as we were selling craft, I used to meet a lot of people, and for me, more wanting to know what people wanted us to sell, because I thought maybe craft really, can't be outside the whole day or for many years. I didn't see myself there, but it was more of a step for me. So through meeting different people, that's how I got an idea to actually give more. People wanted to stay more in Soweto, wanted to see more things than what was offered on organized tours. So I started offering alternative tours to people that I met. I started obviously making relationships with tour operators that at certain times, maybe when they had tourists that wanted to experience the nightlife or wanted to experience Soweto outside the tourist route, they would call me and then I would organize something there. And then I started also organizing soccer tournaments where we would play anywhere in Soweto. If there were people who were interested, if there were tourists who were interested, to come back to Soweto and do something different than just touring. And then I would identify places and get guys who would come together and then set up a team. We would play anywhere, and then from there, that's where we went to my house, my grandparents' house, and then that's where we would have a party or lunch or whatever. And then through there, I would start organizing bands or whatever groups to come and perform, and we'd have a good time. And sometimes we'd have people who didn't want to drive back. They were like, "Oh, can we stay over?" Then, "Oh, no space," but then I would use my room, just change the linen and have it ready, and people could sleep there. Quite a number of people at the time. But yes, that also gave me ideas. Like, wow, if people are willing to sleep in here, and if people want to see something different, I could organize something. But I wasn't really, I'd say I wasn't taking that very serious. I just saw opportunity, but it wasn't something that I wanted to really go because I was not even sure. And at the time, we didn't really have a lot. We didn't really have any guest houses at the time. We started getting guest houses just in 1992 when we had the World Summit on Sustainable Development. That's where a lot of bed and breakfast started to mushroom. So at the time, I would use my room, organize soccer tournaments. But then it was after, offering the service that, people started recommending me, telling their friends, hey,
So it can link with some of the programs that we have at my work on small business development. Yeah. So I don't have definite expectations. It's really more about learning and getting to know more. Yeah.
Okay.
Did you talk about your business?
We're in the process of it. Yeah, we just started.
Okay.
And just quickly, not a problem. We're happy to have you.
I'm Juliet Matebula. I'm a marketing manager for Standard Bank, and the portfolio that I look after is corporate social investment, stakeholder relations, and transformation.
And my name is Leslie, and I'm the CSI manager at Legal Wise.
And I'm Martha Deacon, and I'm from the Townships Project, listening here. And I'm Eileen.
KZN in a company called Mashatini Organic. Yes, I also work with different communities in different areas. We do savings, train people on no-till practice farming. I also encourage people to do organic farming. Yes, and also a preacher.
And you're the facilitator of the table.
Yes.
So as we were doing, maybe I should start from the start again.
Yes.
Okay, so we started crime scene cleanup to help and try ease the trauma that people go through during the times of depression, times of break-ins, homicide, suicide, all that kind of stuff. And we came to the conclusion that there was a lot of gaps in the market and in the service that we rendered South Africans. Because after we have cleaned a crime scene, we had waste, and this waste could not be landfilled. So we had to get transporters and people that incinerate this waste for us. And then we found that there were one in the whole of South Africa. We had 2 incinerators and transporters, now we only have 1. So it became a snowball effect, and we started being transporters as well. And then, after we collected the waste that everybody was cleaning from the crime scenes, we saw that nobody incinerated it. So we decided, let's do the incineration as well. So it's still a snowballing effect the whole time. And the deeper we go into bio-waste removal or hazardous material removal, the more doors open for us, the more people we can employ to fill the gaps that we have in the communities. Now, the thing that worries us most is in the communities. There is no structure around hazardous materials. We saw roadkill, and we saw a dog actually eating the roadkill, going home.
Eating
the roadkill that some car killed.
Okay.
Yeah, whatever, a cat or something.
Yes, it was a cat or a dog. And we actually drove behind this dog, and he went into a house, a garden, and played with the child and was licking the child, and we thought, no, that's infectious diseases, people will die. And then we decided to take it all the way. So now we are getting rid of the source of the infection that is going on in our communities in South Africa. So it's a very, very needed service that people tend to overlook, because in 2 weeks' time that child is going to be sick and nobody will know why. They don't know about the roadkill. They don't know about the animal that ate or licked the roadkill and went and played with the child. And the most fascinating, scary story that we heard last week is that they are actually landfilling 20 tons of sanitary wear, sanitary bin wear in Springs. So we are trying to get the bio waste off our landfills and out of our communities. So it's not just crime scene cleanups. It just started like that, and it's going over to hygiene. And there's so many gaps we can fill just by being able to put one person in each community to be able to fill that gap, and that person can do all that different kinds of things, getting the sanitary out of the streets, getting bio waste out of the bins.
So what's the business model here? Who pays you and who can afford to pay you? Do you see this as, is it partly government? Is it mostly private? Or,
The problem we are faced with at this moment is that people, the clients, pays us, but we took it a little bit further. And we're trying to implement on government basis. We're still trying for them to fund the communities to be able to just have an area where this bio waste and hazardous materials can go until we can come and pick it up. Yes. It's a very big problem in the whole of South Africa at this stage, and we don't see it. I didn't see it. I was a crime scene cleaner for 9 years before I saw what was going on, and now it's unbelievable.
It's in your face.
It's in my face.
But I can remember programs on TV, on carte blanche and things like that. Remember at a stage there was a lot in the media about biohazard wastes being dumped. It was shocking stuff, absolutely shocking stuff. And you know, the children go and play amongst these needles and things like that going around.
What's the next step for you? What's your business plan?
Our next step is to get an incinerator in each and every province. We need one in each and every province so we can get rid of the biohazardous waste.
And have you priced those incinerators? Would you buy them?
Yes,
and then you would buy them, let's say, against a long-term contract. The government or somebody else would be asking you to pick up waste at certain hospitals.
That's a long-term goal. That is our vision. Or our mission at this stage, because there's licenses involved and there's a whole lot of laws and health and safety regulations involved. So the only way we could do this now, we already bought one incinerator, is to go completely green. Because going green, you don't need that licenses. But we still need the licenses to transport the biohazardous waste. And we've been getting more and more people to help us, driving from Cape Town, from the top of almost Namibia, bringing the bio waste to Pretoria to be incinerated.
So how do the hospital at the moment, how do they...
Yes. And we are only on the tip of the iceberg here. The government hospitals actually have their own incinerators. 90% of them is not working. They don't have the how can I say, time and stuff and training to get them working, but they are. There is some incinerators. Private incinerators, there's one left in Joburg CBD. Residential area is very worrying. And then we put up the green incinerator. We had to do it by ourselves. We had to dig in everything we had to put this up, just to be able to supply our franchisees' needs. Because what are they going to do with the bio waste after they have removed it?
Maybe you should go back maybe you should also go back and just tell us how you set your business up first.
From the beginning?
Yeah. The actual, because I think, you know, you've already gone very far in your business model. So, you know, the processes that you've put in place already.
Crime scene cleanup is about getting people that just had trauma, getting them to come back to their normal way of life as soon as possible. We need to ease the trauma that these people face every day. Because crime is a high factor in South Africa, I know we don't like to say it, but we work with it on a daily basis. It's not just crime like homicide and whatever you can call it, accidents. It's suicide. Our biggest problem in South Africa is depression and suicide. 90% of our work is suicide. And what's so scary, it's males between the ages of 30 and 35. That's young, that's youth. And we can't get to the source of that depression as yet. But I think we're going to solve most of the depression that we have in South Africa just with this project that we are doing now. So we would like to get the communities aware of, listen, there is depression. There's trauma counselors that can help you. We give it to you free of charge and telephonic assistance. There's a lot of people that actually does that to help the communities. And the communities out here cannot afford the services of trauma counselors and psychiatrists. So our job is getting bigger and bigger, and we get more and more and more crime scenes each and every day. We have 12 franchises all over South Africa at this moment, and they are busy on a daily basis.
Are you profitable?
We are profitable. We are. Removal of gross factor is a profitable business because nobody else wants to do it. There's a selected few that has got the, how can I say, the stomach number one, and the need to help other people. Like you said earlier, we only look at ourselves. We don't want to look around to the people next to us, because what they do is their problem. Why am I going to help them? And that's where we're going to step in now.
And of course, there's no facility.
Be safe. Don't clean it yourself, because it might be infectious. Even if you live with that person for 30 years, you never know. You don't know. So it's safer to get somebody trained to come in and do that for you, so you and your children will be healthy. Yeah.
I think, picking up from what you've been saying, there is actually about 4 kind of different areas that you're working on. The public hospitals and the ambulances. There is for the private sector, in terms of the crime scenes that happen in corporate. There is for the community in terms of the accidents that are happening around the community. And there is within the community, the households, in terms of the crime that happen in the households. And then the gap that I'm seeing here is you have this business. It's doing a lot of great work, but people are not aware.
They're not aware.
Yeah, that's where the gap that I'm seeing. And the awareness is two-pronged. Is the awareness of this kind of business that is available in South Africa.
Yes.
In fact, I can say 3. It's available in South Africa. There is a gap for it, and we need more people doing it.
We do.
The other gap for me is in terms of the finances of cleaning the crime scene.
Yes.
You mentioned that at the moment the clients are paying for it.
And insurance companies, so we got them so far that
so
they
for
are
the
also
communities
paying.
that we're talking to, that we wanting to bring the business to,
Yes.
and if I were to buy the business as someone who's living in Khayelitsha, from a household income perspective, it would be a challenge, even though people know that they need to clean the crime scene. If it's supposed to be paid out of their own pocket.
Yes, that is the next problem we're facing.
And then the third one is in terms of the understanding of the bio waste.
Yes.
Within the communities, because you're talking about sanitary towels. People just throw them in bins in the street. When the bin is full, there's a place where everybody dumps. We go and dump there, and we don't understand what is bio waste. We don't understand how to separate our waste and become more green and ensure that the bio waste is not included in what we throw in the street, if we still want to throw in the street.
That's why we need to educate our communities.
I wonder if Virginia has thoughts on it.
The houses are built there, construction people are there, so all their money is made there. And then when a charity goes and see them, they say, no, we fund the Reach for a Dream Foundation. nothing is spent in the town where they make their money. And I just have a problem with that. There's nothing wrong to spend money in Cape Town as well. But the primary obligation, I think, is the community where you make your money.
I think you get two types of outfits. Some of them are natural and they sort of live next to each other. It's like trees in a forest. Some are parasitic. So they'll colonize a tree and they'll take all its blood and they'll use it for themselves. So always when you look at a company, you can see what is its relationship to the community that it's embedded in. Is it really embedded in that community, or does it just have a methodology to extract cash from the community and then spend it somewhere else? So I think it's very meaningful. And in a way, communities should be given the tools to analyze and to say, who is real here? Who is actually delivering to us? And is it a two-way process? Or do they just want to extract the maximum amount of cash out of us and then move on? And so it doesn't matter whether the prices are low or not. It's what have they contributed to us as a community? What comes back? Is it just a couple of jobs? Or is it something that's much more meaningful? Are they rooted in this community?
And we see this especially in mining industry like ours. We always ask what's going to happen after platinum.
Post-platinum era.
Post-platinum era and Rustenburg might be
There's a
a
whole lot of
ghost
rubbish
town.
dumps.
I think, sort of, just if I may chip in response to your question of the CSR and the franchising. Indeed, you clearly have, let's say, the Legends model exists, and the model, and there also exists the corporate bodies who are already doing their own business. It's now to bring these entities into para tracks together. Sometimes they are not even, the corporate world is totally ignorant or unaware of what is happening out there. Sometimes they wait till even the end of the year and then make one big donation, which will not be linked in any way to the community needs. And so proactively, there is a need also to engage with that community, where we integrate programs into their CSR or corporate social responsibility initiatives. So this is where you're engaging with them at the beginning of the year, sharing details of what you are doing and how beneficial it will be to the community. A number of them may have or may not have processes of engaging that for our CSR programs, these are the metrics and things that we check. We check on if we are engaging in a particular program, will it lead to increase in our profit? Will it increase to membership? Will it lead to whatever, job creation or what have you? And so once you're able to respond to them that by partnering with us, for example, this is what we are bringing to your organization, in addition sometimes to the profit lines, then they begin to rethink the whole CSR program that they already have. And it becomes new and innovative things that sells them better. So we assume that they should know, but they don't know. And therefore, we need to get to them and school them as well to be able to toe the line as we expect them.
We've started the mobilization.
So the business right now, if you're like already, you guys, it's a stage where you can do the kind of things that they're talking about.
Yeah. Look, I think there's still a lot to learn, and I think that's why, combined between ourselves, Honda and Legal-wise, we've committed to funding the first couple, and so we'll set up the first 5 or 10 franchisees, which we'll pay for, we'll fund it. We'll learn the lessons. We'll learn the lessons that are to be learned.
Piloting up 5 and then taking lessons learned from that 5 and extending it to a bigger number.
Yes.
Okay.
And maybe put the stores next to a Legal-wise branch. We have 80 branches in the townships in South Africa. From our side, they know that we can harness that brand of value that resides with the community. So that's what we do.
So you wouldn't require those franchises to put any equity in the model?
I think initially probably not. Initially, I think because we feel we have to pay for the lessons learned. I think we'll do the first couple ourselves. I think going forward, it will also be our responsibility to either fund or try finding funding for that franchisee. You know, we don't want to come out there and say we rely entirely on DTI to give us 250,000 rand to put up a franchise, or require the franchisee to come up with that kind of money. I said, no.
But also in becoming, yeah, I know that you, Sean, have done this before. My experience of franchise in this country is a lot of people want to do it, but when they try and get the funding, that's when it falls apart. And you can hear from the floor this morning, there's anger aimed at the DTI, because I think that's what you find. They say, yes, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, but when the crunch comes, can I get the money? The answer is no. So we don't want that to be the stumbling block here. If we can prove the model, we think then it will roll out. So we want to show commitment.
That sounds very interesting. Is there examples, I'm just curious, of where people haven't put any equity up and started a franchise in it? I'm just curious if it works.
We actually never require them to put any equity up front.
Okay.
We firmly believe that non-collateralized loans are the way to go, and that not having equity up front is the way to go, largely because we're trying to target the poorest of the poor with most of our initiatives. Now, you may not be targeting the poorest of the poor with what you're doing, but I think one of the things that we've learned is that the business may have to diversify a bit based on the frequency of purchase of the product that you're selling. So, as an example from our world, we had a couple of products we were selling within the same business in a box. One was airtime, for prepaid airtime for mobile phones, and the other was eyeglasses. And what we noticed, two very different products, both needed in the community, but the airtime sales, that people were consuming almost on a daily basis. So there's a very, very small margin, but it was coming in almost daily, which provided a cash flow that they found was consistent. With the eyeglasses, we saw it was pretty interesting. Like, first, if they weren't mobile, if they had a fixed location, they would initially have really strong sales, but then they would saturate their market pretty quickly. And the frequency of purchase of eyeglasses was such that people only wanted to purchase it once every couple of years, and so it put pressure on them to be mobile, to be able to advertise in other communities, or to diversify their products. And so they started also selling eye drops, so that people could actually keep their eyes clear, but they'd purchase that more often. And what I'm wondering is, I guess, and it somewhat depends on the population density of the community being served as well, because in the urban areas they could sell eyeglasses almost in perpetuity, and they could run that business for a number of years. In the rural areas they would run it for a couple of months, and then the business would start to tail off. And so you may see a similar trend with motorcycles, and I'm wondering if you may have to have some flexibility in the model depending on the population density in the township being served, where sometimes you have a consolidated model where they're not only selling the motorcycles, but they're servicing and they're selling helmets and other products that are more frequently purchased. Or if in the urban area or the more densely populated area, there's enough of a market to just sell the motorcycles purely. Or if there may need to be flexibility, I'm not sure, but we've noticed that we had to have that flexibility.
I think that's important. Before you lay out that capital, you need to know that you'll have a steady stream of income over a sustainable period.
Cash flow is king, right?
Yeah.
So I think
that's a strong point.
Well, I think, and I might, you might comment on that. I think the informal repair sector that will grow with a rollout of a mobilization program like this will probably be something that people might overlook. Your informal repairer next to the road who will be able to fix your puncture, or fix your tire, or fix your chain, or your sprocket, or whatever needs to happen.
That's what happens.
That's going to be.
It will happen.
Yeah, it will happen now.
When you plan for it, it will happen. Yeah. Well, a good example is, I don't know if you get them down here, but in Gauteng, you can drive next to the road, and there's the guy with his welding torch. will fix your exhaust.
Yeah, we replace your exhaust, right? I don't know if you have it up here.
Yeah, you can do it. Yeah, you do.
You've
Yeah,
got a guy
and
who's
the
got
guy, then
5
this
or
guy
10
with
exhaust sets.
5 or 10 tires there.
Yeah.
You know?
Next to the road, you stop there, you fixes it, off you go.
So that's what you said in your awareness campaign. That what is the downstream of this operation? You know, for Joe Soap, you may be interested. You may not necessarily now be in a position to own this, but there's a downstream side of it. You know, where you can. Surely
Yeah.
there's fruit hanging. You know,
Yeah, but I
that
also
people
hear
can
your
pick.
point that if that bike shop becomes part of the community, they're not easily going to support the new guy who opens either. They're going to show some loyalty if it's done right.
Yeah, if it's done right, right, yeah. But you could sell some downstream activities flowing from this thing.
Will always happen.
Maybe that could, and those things are examples, your glasses and stuff like that. So from this thing, you know, these are the things that could be benefits for other players. You know, it could be players within the immediate family or an extended family. You never know. So that's actually what you in your educational and awareness package. Those are the things that you need to mention.
Yeah, well, I think that's a business point of view, and I think besides the business point of view and the business based job creation, I think what transportation or access to transportation will do to people, and there's been a number of international organizations that have done a lot of work on this. And I have quotations that I'll probably include in my presentation tomorrow from people like the World Bank and the United Nations, is the effect of transportation on the poor. Just the access to transportation, uplifts people. It uplifts them morally, spiritually. It just the ability to be able to move from point A to point B. Then I think secondly, access to credit, access to financial services. If somebody can learn, become financially savvy, learn that, right, I've taken a loan now for 8 to 10,000 rand, I've got this motorcycle, and I need to pay for it every month, and I need to maintain it. That process of becoming financially savvy, of actually starting to build an asset base, it's in itself, it's an educational process that goes right through to the consumer. It doesn't end with the business owner.
You see, another thing that you need to be aware of is that the process itself, called ABCD, right? Is that people, out of, they identify these things themselves because the structure says that you keep asking yourselves certain questions. So what we're thinking about now, because we are not very much close to it, is that people will find answers to these questions as they go along, because it's a question of discovery, learning, and once you learn it yourself, you retain it much more than when it's taught to you by somebody else. Yeah. Those are the things that we need to bear in mind.
Yeah. No, I think we very much need to find out from you from you guys and from all the experts around it over the next 3 days.
Yeah. What would be the approach? Also looking at the whole question of profiling, of the kind of people, even if you don't have a clear picture right now, the kind of people that you like to associate yourselves with and why. Because those things could come in quite handy.
What I wanted to ask is, if we take the approach that we're going to have at Legal Wise, and we're going to now contact our members and we say, get in touch with us, and they get in touch with us, and we have now determined a particular profile of a person that we want, do we then go back to the community and say, through this person that we've now identified, let's say we want to do 5 dealerships in Village, do we then go back to the community, through these guys, and say, where do we put it, what should it look like, how much consultation do we need to go back with to the community before we launch?
I think initially, it's normally driven by a core group, right, of people. which is those guys that are in your network, for instance, to communicate this thing. But when you're talking about things like a bigger buy-in, you need people to understand exactly what it is. So even if they're not going to be directly involved, that connection, that emotional connection that you mentioned, some people that are going to be active in this thing, but the mere fact that they understand where it's coming from and they actually understand where it's going to, that's where you actually get that connection. And that's actually where you get your guarantees in terms of safety and acceptance and all those kind of things. Because you've connected at that level with people. And obviously you need to work through a vehicle of core, core group of people. You guys are in business, within business, maybe you do have skills of people that can facilitate these things. Those are the basic things that you need, right? And right in this workshop, all from those that you have made contact with, it would be quite appropriate for you to keep, those contacts, isn't it? And everything, because they may have, some information. Maybe they've done some of these things before. They can share those things with you. You could have, contacts with, your facilitators around this table, but they've got lessons that they've learned, bringing concepts or working with concepts, within similar situations, and the lessons learned from them. Because this whole question of knowledge management, you don't want to go through the same process, but you need
Pay
to
the
know
school fees over
where
and
are
over,
the landmines and
Yeah.
stuff like
Some
that.
people have paid the
I was
school
thinking,
fees.
I was thinking exactly that this morning when I was watching the presentation from Walking past. And I was thinking, typically we would want to piggyback of the work that they've done. Maybe I've already spoken to Basil, and where they have that connection with the community already.
Yeah.
Things in terms of basic food, where the child is not hungry, the chances that he can learn if he's hungry is very small. If there's a major emotional stuff going on, the chances of a child being able to learn is very small. So that needs to be in place.
So, Kailesh, is that in place?
I've got a question. If it is only focusing on children, is that true?
No, it's not true. We've been working with adults, any age group can work with that. But from a business perspective, in terms of getting enough clients in, and to find, make sure that the group that you work with is easy to get into your business, at least on primary school level. That's typically the first time where a reading problem surfaces. It's in grade, and I think the children start writing exams in grade 3 or something, or grade 4. Then it really comes up if they really struggle. So that's your primary market. But ideally, what you want is on preschool level, and we've got preschool programs as well, where the teacher can go out to preschool. And that's because then you prevent the problem.
That's a very interesting comment, because possibly in this do you think there would be potential or interest for young adults, for instance, in Kailicha to go to that school? Because then you could maybe the market would be different in terms of age group, because it could be a bit more bankable and it could be more affordable for them.
Then you can use technology
as well. So then you have all those elements that make it a successful business model for you, still providing a lot of value for the community. Do you think it will be interesting for young adults?
Yeah, I think there will be interest to young adults. There are people that they interested like in using computers, you understand? But they don't have anything. Even if we do have libraries, but public libraries, but they don't know what to do when they get there. You understand? So I think there will be more. They are more interested because in our informal sectors, we've got these computers now, so they need to use them, but they cannot because.
Another excellent organisation that I introduced you to, who we're working with as well, is Papillon Foundation up in Johannesburg. Stephen Smith. Papillon Foundation. Are you familiar with them?
No, but the word.
Merci.
Means butterfly in French.
Butterfly in French, yeah. And they take poor people who are completely out of jobs off the streets, and they teach them how to use computers. And what Steve says, you get these guys coming in, and it's a charity. They took over a church building and they set up computers and they just teach them how to use computers. Basic skills. They'll go out and in 2 years back they'll come back driving a car saying thank you for the gift of that education. And what I think we also want to do in a lot of these areas where it's impoverished is give these kids the opportunity to come in for free and pay back later. And maybe they can also pay back by bringing other children or giving some incentive and creating the barter principle of how you can actually make it happen. Because education must be available to everybody. And we just have to make it happen. And you'll be surprised. There'll be people who come from overseas and will support you, particularly in Kailusha. You want to leverage that because you can put yourself on the map to say we have people who need help. And then utilize internet and all the skills you have in those areas to pull that support in. And just at this table, just sitting down here by chance, you have people who are stepping up to the plate and say, we're here to help.
They're not teaching to use computers, right? Teaching to use how to learn, how to read, sorry, and
We use the technology of computers to assist us
in teaching how to read.
Teaching how to read and how to learn, yes.
And
What they are trying to say is we could old people, like not old people, but mature children, like they were not able to go to school. You understand? So they end up being employed just there, asking them to take care of my baby, something like that, and they earn less salary. You understand? So they are interested on how to read and how to speak. You understand? All of those skills.
Let me answer you in that way.
Some job.
Remember I said what we do is like going to a gym, it's like exercises. Now, let me rephrase that. I tried to play golf, but I'm not a very good golfer. Somebody wrote it. But if I go to gym to develop my golf skills, it's really just the support of my sport, which is golf. Like go to gym to play soccer. I do exercises to learn how to play soccer better. Now, what we do is those exercises. So if old people want to start to read, if they do these exercises, it will help them tremendously. But we don't do the reading per se.
it needs to be complemented by
You still need a
normal-
soccer coach. You still need a reading coach. You still need a school. That's what. So if we go the route of you saying to me that there's a major market of people that didn't have the opportunity, older people, to read and learn, that's fine, but then I need to add something to my business model, which is
could you not partner? Sorry.
No, I just had a question that goes to the ideal community. Presumably you want your franchisees to come out of the community and be part of the community. What are you looking for in the franchisee? Well, I mean, that goes to the community because it's producing the franchisee.
Well, I think there's two roles that I'm picking up in general in our current franchises. The one is obviously the best is to have a teacher, somebody that's qualified as a teacher. I do have a couple of franchisees that are not teachers, but they've got such a passion for developing children that drives what they do. We don't have big classrooms, so you don't need the classroom skills. I've put together in the last 3 months a basic teaching course that's presented by the Teacher Campus, Macmillan Teacher Campus, it's their pet for me, which is a 2 half-day course. So if there's somebody that's really passionate and they need the teaching skills, I can give that to them. It's there.
Here's another thing, and you mentioned that. So what we're doing as an organization, we're creating technology. We want to push it out. We've got this not-for-profit that's giving technology to kids. Over here is a lecture from MIT, one of the top universities in the world. It's free. You can find the finest lecturers in the world. This is not someone who's, maybe wants to find out how to read or write. This is someone who wants to become a rocket scientist or learn about nanotechnology. If he puts the stuff together in his organization, he can offer this to adults as well. The actual content and the teaching is free. All you need is a tool set to deliver. So adding that sort of infrastructure to your business model can give you a tremendous amount of added income, which then grows the education overall.
So let me just pick up on that. Probably link it up with the question. If you look at page 3, it's what I would actually call the desired outcome of this project. It says developing learners to achieve business the desired outcome. Now, my question is, if you, with the various communities where this franchise is going to be be marketed, uh, how do you then customize, that program to actually suit that community? Let me give you an example. I mean, with my training background, I mean, I've had instances where people would actually stand up in front of a class, and you would actually just channel something you've probably memorized over time, or you've actually run this over time. And in the meantime, you're actually speaking on top of the heads of these people. And you come out of there massaging your ego, say, yeah, I did it. In the meantime, people didn't have a grasp of what you did. How flexible is the program to suit that, to be customized to meet the levels of your target population? Let's say correlation.
You don't want to give them MIT lectures, but you want to get some practical how to service
Especially,
your engine.
I mean, if you have, that is good.
Yep.
I mean, you could actually set with that, and we have this lecture, but it depends at what level.
But servicing an engine, for example, so we can access off the net how to service a car, how to become a mechanic, how to become an electrician. So what you can do to leverage your franchise and increase the value is to source that content and then create a library of tools which you can customize to specific communities, just as we do.
To take that into your question, the issue that we sit with, if you have different type of customers. When you work with preschool, it's very specific. It will probably be at the school, because to get those children away from school safely is an issue. It's parents want their child, they walk their child into the school and they fetch them in the school. If you go to primary school, they'll drop them at the gate. Okay? High school, the kid walks to school. So there's different levels, and the markets are very different. When you go to primary school, you need lots of love and caring and empathy to sort out these issues that the children are sitting with. If you go to high school, these teenagers often, they don't want to learn. It's not a question that they cannot learn. It's an attitude issue that you need to build into your program. And you need to make it attractive for them. And if your environment is child-friendly for primary school, it doesn't fit secondary school. If you go to adult education, they don't want to read about stuff that children read. I've worked in adult education. So, although you can do it in one business, to do it in one place might be very, very difficult. You can use the technology all that you want, but unless that culture is focused at that specific group, you will not be successful. One can use the classroom in the box of Tanya here, and have different posters that you put up, different environments that you create with the posters for primary school, and when the teenagers come in, you put up different posters, you create a different feel. Our computer programs that we use at the moment are the same, because it's challenging enough, but it's sort of in between the two. But it's a lot of effort and money if you want to have this thing that works for everybody, and I don't think it's possible. It will fail.
What you can do though, for example, I just showed you the MIT lesson. Here's another example. Very simple. Putting the blocks into the kettle. Now that's a really junior school. Now if your walls are pink, the adults not, or the men at least, not going to be happy. But you can do a lot of the dynamic switchover class type with computer technology. Virtual. Boom.
Technology is very interesting. It's true, and surely it can be optimized, moving from a desktop computer to a tablet. But it seems to me this is not the core issue you're grappling with at the moment, because you have computers, right? So if you could have free tablets, it would be better. Yeah, and of course, if there could be free tablets, obviously it seems it could be a plus. But it seems that the core issue that you're grappling with right now is the skills that you have, which are the methodology for developing cognitive skills. How could they meet the market in the BOP, in the base of the pyramids, and which segment of the market is that? Adults, young adults, older adults, children, etc. So I suggest that we focus a bit of our attention to that. And so you're saying that if do you think the methodology you have could work for? So you say it can't be a one-size-fits-all, because children won't go to the same.
I'm saying that the methodology will work for any age up to
2 years to 75 or 100. It's like going to a gym. The level of exercises that you do will differ, and the type of exercises. And we've worked from preschool. We've worked from where you start teaching children what's the colors of the colored blocks, and you start asking them how many blocks are there. So you work from that level up to whatever age. That's not the issue. The issue is that to create a successful learning environment differs very much from those groupings that I've been talking about. And to try to do it all in one is not effective, and I think there's a high risk of failure if you go that route. And therefore, at the moment, our business is really positioned, and the culture is focused on primary and preschool. To some extent, high school, but adults will feel, and we, from time to time, do have adults that come in, and usually we would sell them a computer solution and see them once a month and see how they progress. But that's not really the focus. There needs to be some changes if we go that route. So does that answer your question?
Yes, no, that I had understood. So I just wanted to check if I had understood that correctly. And looking at this market, maybe we have to be creative and see that maybe for children it's not going to work. Not that there is not a need, there is a huge need, I'm certain, but the economic model to be able to fit in 6 children at a time, full time or full capacity or even half capacity, will you find enough parents have the money to dish out 100 rand a week or even half of that? That is not sure. So how can you find people who might have, or even you find other income streams like government supporting it or international support some way or another? That's one way. Second way would be to work with older, young adults or adults who are closer to making money themselves shortly after getting that gym, that brain gym that you're doing. So that could be, for instance, if you find some NGO programs or whatever that do teaching reading classes for free, and if you supplement it with your brain gym in a way, then you have those students, adult students are already there, so it would directly fit in your class, and so there would be synergies basically, and so your franchisee can make money out of it, and you're supporting the initiative that NGO or that government adult program is making, and then the adult, and you're improving the chances of success for that adult who is now able to read and more successful. That could be a way to do it. Your business model would be around finding partnerships.
Yeah, one can do that. The other adding to that, what is interesting is some of the students, especially of the older primary school kids, don't want to leave the center. They're at a point where at school, they're the best performer year after year. They don't want to leave because they achieve success there. It's like a family, they don't want to leave. And we start using some of them as assistant tutors to help the younger kids. So it is a lovely model that one can apply in this type of environment. How to do that? I know it works because they know exactly how the exercises work. They've got the empathy to understand the emotional stuff because they've been through difficult times.
They're convinced.
They're convinced.
They know it works.
And they're caring.
Do you have a discount program where when they bring new students in that they can pay less?
We really just give a couple of lessons for free if necessary. So we don't have a discount.
So the referral program allows you to generate, additional revenue producing customers.
Sorry, I'm going to stop you. I'm
Okay.
very careful about the referral program in terms of money. If it's a very sensitive issue that we deal with in terms of learning problems and learning disabilities, it's almost unethical to build that in. So we actually made a conscious decision not to do that at all. What we do is that we'll bring a friend to class day, they'll bring friends, and those type of things. But to build in a formal referral issue, especially if you go to the teachers and the headmaster of the local school and say, where's the kids that I can help? And he says to you, okay, for every kid you help, I want 10 rand, That doesn't sound right.
I think in all fairness, we need to focus on the concept, on this methodology. And we're almost doing a SWOT analysis.
But don't we have to focus on answering these questions? I'm just cognizant that we've got 30 minutes left.
Absolutely. So that's why I'm trying to actually bring us back into focus to say let's not be derailed. Because if we're going to be talking about the monetary side and who's going to be funding that, who's going to be subsidizing that, then we're actually getting out of focus.
Say like we buy paper, we buy our ink, the electricity, how much electricity we bought and how much was sold and what the profit is, and we try to keep the records of each month. And see the difference and see if we're getting along or just moving backwards.
Right.
Because it's very important to know if you're going forward or you're going backwards.
Siando, have you done any tertiary education?
No, I haven't.
Did you finish matric?
No, I didn't. I was in grade 11.
Grade 11. That's great. Excellent. You're doing a great job.
But the other challenge it's crime. Because last month we were almost robbed. Because they knew that we were selling electricity and it was the end of the month. They knew that people were queuing outside to get the electricity. So they decided to do something. But we wanted to stop, but we knew that it was in demand. So we're basically debating as a family for the sake of our safety and for the sake of the community. We decided to stop for a week and then we decided, okay, let's do it again. Let's try one more time and see where it leads.
Crime's a big issue. I mean,
it's a very big issue.
How do you deal with that?
Two bakeries stolen. We took it as a compliment because I obviously realized how valuable the equipment was and how valuable this project was. That it wiped out the whole project. We had a bakery out in Prospero, Shoshanguve side that the community just took it upon themselves. They wanted the bakery and came and took it from the beneficiary. That has happened. We do check, with like security, and the containers that we provide are very secure with security gates and big locks and things. But unfortunately, it's a reality of South Africa, whether you Absa Bank or a bakery somewhere in the bush.
Yes, one of the things we've done with PBCD is on the issue of crime. When we do these community engagements. So, for example, the one time NGO had come and put a water pump, kind of classic project, and somebody stole the water pump, so the project stopped. So at the engagement, so one of the guys said, our pump got stolen, so I said, so why are you telling me that? Well, we can't do anything, the pump's gone. So I said, whose pump is it? Oh, it's our pump. So it's your pump, go get it back. Oh. So another time, a Dutch NGO had come and put up a whole child shelter thing, and a week later somebody broke in and stole all the furniture and everything. And so then I asked them, so after all the police had come and gone, the grandmother was taking care of so I went to her and said, okay, so who stole it? So the point is that in communities everybody knows, I mean, if I can tell you in Soweto where the BMWs get chopped up, right? When I was at varsity, I drove past, and so everybody knows, but when a community takes ownership of it and they realize, wait, this is our bakery. And I love what you did there, where the community sees the value of it, even in an urban context. I said, this is ours. Suddenly, so in this particular community where the pump got stolen, they realized, wait a minute, this is our pump. And so they formed a partnership themselves with the SAPS, and so now they patrol their community as a community to take care of everybody's businesses. Because they realized, wait a minute, if crime happens, we all lose. And so now they have a community policing forum, and every day they patrol by themselves with the police. So anyway.
I wouldn't let that stop me. I would see that sign of success. When I want to rob, you've got something to rob. Try and, don't give up.
What was what you're saying is very important. Inside this the right development system, whereby the rights of all development of those rights. And also in that, we've got street committees, you see. Then actually, particularly when you say that the issue of electricity, which is quite in demand around. So actually what happened is that we found out that the community itself or the person having those kind of things does not engage the community in it, given that actually there is that danger of crime, and it's a high rate of crime, and that is actually caused by, there's also cause social illness around in the Kalicha area itself. And as we know, we've got street committees, and then we've got this police forum that you said, whereby they got
each and every street nearly. They've got a volunteer, you see, those that are doing also his job of in there. And then we got also under the local government, yeah, the community development workers, which we have to give steps now in terms of the level of crime and also probably advise from the what, how can we reduce such kind of thing, because that kind of issues that you are doing, it is part of development. It's developing the community, you see. So you need to get closer to your street committees and your street chairperson, and also in those ward committees that are taking place in the area.
But we finding crime not so much localized in the community. It's when she goes and she's on the train and she's got her day's takings because she's got to go and bank to be able to come by more. She gets her bag stolen, or she's literally outside Capitec Bank and gets pushed over. It's petty crime, but it can mean that a business, you know, one day's or 1 week's takings is all your money that you don't have enough to rebuy any stock. So crime is a massive factor. That, I mean, our women are being affected by it. I'd say we get a mugging. We've got 150 women in our program. We've got 2 a week that'll come in saying, I was mugged today. We've had problems with trackers constantly phoning in high area. Be careful, but that's Dalila. But trainers getting hijacked, you know, they're in these communities doing good work. They had one with a rope around his neck about 2-3 weeks ago. Now they're at crime, you know, steal cell phones, steal vehicles with those cars hijacked. So it prevents us doing, we should take some load of the car. But still, it's not a nice reality, but it is a reality. But we say poverty is the mother of crime. A hungry man is not a free man. So if we can solve this poverty, the crime will automatically go down.
I'd like to kind of wrap up in terms of your key takeaways, and not just for everybody. And what are the, and again, this is to present on the Friday, but also for you to take what did you get from this particular session? Like ideas, things you. I mean, I can start off very quickly. Like I picked up just the process that you followed of screening, monitoring. I mean, screening, mentoring, and monitoring.